I was living with a male professor and never wore a bra at home. Because he was blind. Until one day, a male colleague came to deliver some documents. I had just opened the door and hadn't even said a word. The door was kicked shut. Professor Leo draped a coat over my shoulders. You should be more careful. With such clear contours, it's not good for outsiders to see.
Welcome to listen to my full sweet love series novel. I'm the blogger and I'm Twilight's novel. Now let's start the main story.
When I arrived at Leo's door, I was still a bit hesitant. My mother's friend Auntie Lucy said the house was large, rent-free, and since her son was partially blind, it would be safe to live together. But it was my first time sharing a roof with a man. When the door opened and I saw a man with white bandages covering his eyes, dressed neatly, I breathed a sigh of relief. Professor Leo, hello, I'm Cindy. I'll be troubling you for a while. I wanted to shake his hand, then remembered he couldn't see and pulled back. Hello, my mother told me about you, he said, stepping aside to make a path. Please come in. The man wore a white shirt with buttons fastened all the way to the top. His black trousers accentuated his tight waistline and those long, straight legs. You sit first, I'll make some tea. Leo's voice was magnetic, his tone calm. Even with white bandages covering his eyes, his handsome facial features were evident. Oh, thank you. Realizing he was blind, I added, no need to trouble yourself, I'll do it. In the end, under his guidance, I prepared the tea. We sat on the sofa with a space of one person between us. Professor Leo, did you get injured in your eyes? I was genuinely curious. Earlier, I had seen him fumbling with his hands, stumbling awkwardly, not like someone who had been blind for long. Auntie Lucy hadn't explained much on the phone. Yes, I was injured during an experiment. Then, will they get better? The doctor said they will. Good, good. I poured him a cup of tea, murmuring softly. Otherwise it would be a shame. Such a handsome face. Such an outstanding person. What? Nothing, drink your tea. Leo's house had 3 bedrooms. He lived in the master bedroom, and I stayed in the second. Due to his eye condition, he couldn't go to school to teach, so he stayed home all day. Listening to articles. Drinking tea. He lived like an old-fashioned literary youth. My academic record was fairly good, and within a week I found an editing job at a publishing house. After work, I took on the responsibility of cooking, and we chatted after dinner. One evening, I forgot to bring my bra after showering. As I hopped around, I suddenly realized, he can't see. Right, he couldn't see me, so why bother wearing sleepwear? I could stand naked in front of him and what could he do? But I shouldn't be too unreasonable. I only wore a nightgown, braless as I walked out of the bathroom. Liberated from the underwire, it felt incredibly refreshing. Leo was sitting on the sofa listening to an audiobook. I casually sat down on the sofa, secretly watching him. In the past few days, I had accompanied him to the hospital twice. He had changed dressings, but the bandages remained, with doctors repeatedly warning him to rest well. He turned off the audiobook app and turned his ear. What's wrong? Nothing. Professor Leo, what do you teach? Physics and chemistry. Oh, so I can't take your classes no matter which direction I bow, right? A smile appeared on his face as he asked attentively, what do you mean? Truly a professor, even his questions made people feel comfortable. What I mean is, if I had met a professor as handsome as you in college, I would have sat in the front row every time and pestered you with questions after class. Too bad. I'm a humanities student. I should have chosen science back then. Leo smiled more broadly. Even if you chose science, I might not have taught you. Professor speaks the truth. I lowered my head, thinking instead of what my ex-boyfriend had said, studying humanities has no future. I don't know what you see in those books all day. Cindy, may I call you that? His voice brought me back to reality. Of course. You don't need to call me Professor Leo either. Living together long-term, always calling me Professor feels awkward. Just call me Leo. Ah. Okay. Leo was 27 this year, 4 years older than me. I thought I could probably call him brother. In the next 2 weeks, I accompanied Leo to the hospital several times. The doctor said his eyes were recovering well, estimating that in about a month, his vision would be restored. I was genuinely happy for him. But I also thought about the inconveniences that would arise once he regained his sight. At the very least, my braless freedom would be over. One evening after work, I saw several dessert boxes on the coffee table. Crack! A crisp sound came from the kitchen. I sensed trouble and hurried over. On the ground were broken porcelain shards, with Leo standing there helplessly. He was about to move. "Don't move!" I shouted. "Don't step on the shards, I'll handle it." He stood obediently, like a child who had done something wrong. Until I cleaned up the broken porcelain and helped him to the sofa by his arm, he relaxed. "You've troubled me, Cindy." The gentlemanly man was especially likable. "It's nothing, are you hurt?" Though he said no with his mouth, his left hand secretly tried to hide behind his back. I grabbed it and saw the wound on his palm. Without hesitation, I took the first aid kit and treated his wound. Perhaps because the room had no air conditioning, Leo's cheeks were unusually red. "Cindy, you've accompanied me to the hospital so many times. I wanted to cook a meal to thank you. But it's just a small favor. Besides, you agreed to let me stay in your house, which solved my urgent problem. It's I who should thank you. I rarely bandage people, so it's probably ugly. Now that my job is stable, once your eyes recover, I'll look for another place. I won't trouble you anymore." Oh. Seeing his low spirits, I changed the subject. "These desserts are? They're for you." Not knowing what you like, I bought several kinds. "Great. I love desserts. If not for the risk of gaining weight, I'd eat them every day." He smiled slightly. "You're not fat." "How do you know?" He paused. "I guessed." I teased. "What if your dear roommate is a 180-pound chubby girl?" "I guess you must be very beautiful." Well, he guessed correctly. If I weren't pretty, I wouldn't have won over the cool-hearted Andrew during college. Just then, my stomach gurgled inappropriately. "I'll cook," he said. "I'll do it." I pressed his shoulder. "You rest. I can't just sit here waiting for food." He took my wrist and lowered it. "Let's cook together." I felt like I was the chosen roommate. My first roommate was a godly roommate. Polite, clean, tolerant, considerate. If he were a woman, I'd be willing to live with him for life. Unfortunately, he's a man. The publishing house entered its peak season, and the company said we'd be busy for over a week. I got up earlier than a rooster and went to bed later than a dog, working day and night. For over a week, Leo and I barely saw each other. So much so that I didn't even know when Leo's eye bandages were removed. One evening when I returned home, it was already 11:30 p.m. He had left the living room light on as usual, but his bedroom light was off. Professor Leo's schedule was always very regular. I quietly finished showering and came out wrapped in a towel, only to see a man standing in the kitchen. "Leo!" The man turned around at the sound. His handsome features were finally fully revealed. I covered my chest, instinctively retreating toward the bathroom. "Cindy, you're back." He raised his water glass toward my direction. "I was thirsty, came out for a drink." "Oh. Can you see now?" "Not yet, but the doctor said the dressing is no longer needed." I breathed a sigh of relief, adjusting my towel over my chest as I approached him. "Will you be able to see soon?" "Probably." He paused, changing his words. "It's hard to say." I waved my hand in front of his eyes, seeing no reaction. "You must tell me when you can see." "Why?" I glanced at my prominent cleavage, then at my bare legs. "Why?" Because I had gotten used to freedom, going braless, living freely. "So I can find a new place in advance," I said. "Oh." The man agreed expressionlessly, his voice calm. Yet it was hard to ignore his delicate features. Though his eyes seemed unfocused, they had an innocent beauty. "Leo, your eyes are really beautiful." "Thank you." "Sigh, is the air conditioning not on?" I asked. "It is." "Then why are your cheeks so red, Professor Leo?" I chuckled. Never thought the refined Professor Leo would blush so easily when complimented. "Going to bed?" He hurriedly put down his glass and headed toward his bedroom. "Good night." I couldn't help but tease. "Good night, Professor Leo, watch your step." After the busy season at work ended, life returned to its regular rhythm. The time I spent with Leo increased. On weekends, I sprawled on the sofa without any regard for appearance, playing on my phone and reading novels. My nightgown often rode up to my waist without me caring. Leo started wearing sunglasses from some point, saying it was to protect his eyes from light. But it hindered my enjoyment of his appearance. Sometimes I thought that living like this for a lifetime, peacefully and calmly, wouldn't be bad. However, things didn't go as planned. One day, Andrew sent me a message. "Cindy, let's meet up sometime." I frowned. "There's no need. We've already broken up. When we broke up, it was your unilateral decision." I didn't agree. I laughed bitterly. I sat up straight from the sofa like a fish flipping. "Bro, breaking up isn't like divorce. It doesn't require both parties' consent. I want to break up, so we break up." Perhaps my movement was too sudden, startling Leo beside me. He asked, "What's wrong?" "Nothing, just dealing with someone annoying." My anger hadn't subsided, making my tone unpleasant without me realizing it. Andrew sent another message. "Okay then, even after breaking up, we can still be friends." Andrew and I met at a debate competition. During the debate, we argued fiercely against each other, making me believe our love was equally matched. He had a childhood friend named Wendy. The Wen and N families were old acquaintances, with Andrew and Wendy being the expected match for their families. "Cindy, don't worry. I only see her as a sister." I trusted him. But he repeatedly shattered my trust in him. When Wendy had a fever, he stood me up on my birthday. When Wendy wanted to watch a movie with us, he brought her along, making it a 3-person outing. During graduation season, I was anxious about finding a job to the point of illness. While getting in for at the hospital, I called him. I got a rejected call and a message. "Wendy has an interview soon, she's nervous." "I am her. Can't talk in the waiting room. Tell me later if anything's important." I knew it was time for me to leave. Perhaps from the beginning, he never belonged to me. I don't want to waste time on meaningless things. After sending this message, I turned off my phone. Feeling upset. Leo had somehow approached me without my noticing, extending his hand. On it lay a piece of candy. "Have a piece of candy. It'll make you feel better." Something inside me was touched, and I took the candy. My fingertip accidentally brushed against his palm, warm and smooth. "Thank you." He sat down beside me. For the first time this close, I smelled the lemon scent on him, refreshing and pleasant. Suddenly, I wanted to ask him a question. "Leo, why did you choose to study science?" "Because I love it, just like you love literature." "Ha! How do you know I like literature?" He smiled. "I guessed. But I think studying literature isn't as good as science." "Why would you think that?" "Literature determines direction, science determines, neither is superior." "I don't understand your romantic sentiments, and you wouldn't have injured your eyes in an experiment." He pointed to his eyes and joked. The sunglasses covered most of his features, but the visible contours were still captivating. I was infected by his humor and laughed along. "See, there's a better answer." Andrew would only say, "Studying literature has no future." That night, I tossed and turned in bed. I was starting to like Leo. This was an undeniable fact. After rejecting Andrew's invitation, he was at least sensible enough not to contact me again. Life returned to normal. The only difference was, why did Leo blush so often? He blushed while eating, while listening to audiobooks, even before sleeping. Almost every moment I could see him. His face remained rosy, like a peach. I suspected he was allergic to something and suggested taking him to the hospital. He repeatedly refused. "I'm just hot." "Dude, it's October. How can you be hot?" "Doubtful." I searched online. Why do men blush? Besides the serious medical answers, there were some curious ones. If he blushes at women, it means he likes you. He saw something he shouldn't have seen. Winking. I can speak from experience. After cooking with my girlfriend, seeing her in tight clothes made me so flustered my face turned redder than a monkey's butt. I pursed my lips and exited the page, deleting the search history. What kind of nonsense is this? A blind man, who hasn't even seen what I look like, could like me? Isn't he afraid of ending up with a woman who sounds sweet but looks ordinary? Didn't find a satisfactory answer. Unconvinced, I knocked on his door with a thermometer. The light was on, but he responded slowly. When I entered, I saw him leaning against the headboard covered by a blanket, books on the nightstand scattered. Still wearing sunglasses. Leo, are you running a fever? I approached and felt his forehead. He swallowed. No. The temperature doesn't seem high, I said, noticing his face visibly reddening. Hey, look, your face is red again. Leo, you must be sick. Let me take your temperature. I took out the thermometer and tried to put it under his arm. My wrist was suddenly grabbed. Really, no need. Hey, why is your voice hoarse? Growing more anxious, I pulled free from his hand, eager to take his temperature, so I started unbuttoning his shirt. Cindy, stop. He suddenly shouted, startling me. After realizing what he'd done, his voice softened. I'm really fine, truly. Please go out. One hand lifted the blanket, as if wanting to get up, but for some reason stopped and covered himself again. I'll take it myself and show you tomorrow, okay? His pitiful tone, paired with his flushed face. How could I say no? Then rest well. Okay. His voice was already hoarse beyond recognition. The next day was Saturday, a day off. Perfect for taking care of Leo, who was sick but stubborn. He got up early and showed me the thermometer. 36.2 degrees. Not a fever. Leo, you really should go to the hospital. I still suspect you're allergic to something. I looked around. The allergen might be in this house. No response. Leo was in the kitchen, doing something mysterious. I felt he was becoming colder toward me, which made me uncomfortable. After breakfast, I returned to my bedroom, pondering Leo's unusual behavior. Suddenly, I heard the doorbell ring. It should be my colleague bringing me book samples. I opened the door about to take the samples, when the thank hadn't even left my mouth. The door was kicked shut. Along with it came a black coat, carrying a lemon scent. Leo stood before me, without sunglasses, his gaze directed straight ahead, saying, You should be more careful. With such clear contours, it's not good for outsiders to see. Contours? What the hell? Kid, do you have many questions? I looked down, suddenly discovering something alarming. Leo, can you see now? No response came, and the man opened the door again. My colleague stood outside, confused. Cindy, what just happened? It was the wind. The wind blew the door shut. I took the book samples. Thanks, I'll treat you to a meal sometime. After closing the door, Leo had already returned to the sofa, sunglasses back on, listening to an audiobook. This man loved button-up shirts. The white shirt tucked into his trousers perfectly displayed his broad shoulders and narrow waist. The tight chest muscles were faintly visible. I tightened the coat over my chest, suspiciously walking to him. Leo, can you see now? No. Then what did you mean just now? What contours are clear? This. After 2 months of living together, I naturally knew Professor Leo was composed and articulate, never evasive. A ridiculous thought appeared in my mind. I looked down at my prominent contours. He said, Cindy, you've misunderstood. My eyes aren't better yet. Heh. Okay then. Please continue your recovery. I returned to my bedroom and changed into a new outfit. A pure yet seductive floral tight lace-trimmed nightgown, wearing a bra this time. Leo maintained his previous posture, leaning against the back of the sofa. I quietly walked behind him and quickly removed his sunglasses. Leo, these sunglasses look nice. Where did you buy them? Startled, he immediately sat up straight, turning his back to me. I bought them online. If you like, I can get you a pair too. But you can't see, how did you choose the style? I leisurely walked to his front, leaning close to his dark eyes. His gaze shifted uncertainly. But looking up would meet my eyes. My clothes had been deliberately adjusted to reveal just the right amount. Leo subtly leaned back. But I wouldn't let him off, leaning closer, whispering in his ear with a very soft voice. Professor Leo, why aren't you speaking? It's that. I asked my colleague to help me choose. Is that so? I looked down, spotting something, unable to suppress a laugh. Leo, stop pretending to be blind. Your little friend is greeting me. As soon as I said this, he held my shoulders, using his strength to make me stand straight. He looked directly into my eyes, admitting defeat. Don't look. Then will you stop pretending to be blind? I teased, smiling as I tried to look down again. But he cupped my face, preventing me from moving. I'm not pretending anymore, Cindy. I can see everything. The living room was silent. I sat on the far left of the sofa, Leo on the far right. When did you start seeing? Not long ago. When the bandages were first removed, I could only see light shadows. I fully recovered about a week ago. I calculated the time, recalling my bold behavior at home. If I had been even bolder, wouldn't he have seen everything? Damn. Why didn't you tell me? Didn't I say you must tell me immediately once you could see? The roles seemed reversed. Now, I was the stern professor, and he was the scolded student. I was afraid that if I told you... Enough, don't say more, I interrupted with my hand. I'll find a new place and move out immediately. Cindy, let me finish. No. I absolutely couldn't live under the same roof with a shameless pervert who pretended to be blind to peek at others. I got up and returned to my bedroom, slamming the door. Very angry, the kind that couldn't be soothed. I opened the rental app to look for a new place, but suitable options were scarce. Cheap places were too far from work. Places near work were too expensive. The main issue was my financial situation only allowed for shared housing. But finding another roommate as good as Leo would be difficult. After browsing the rental app for over an hour, I still hadn't found a suitable place. In frustration, I posted on social media and threw my phone aside. A few minutes later, I received a WeChat message. Best friend. What's wrong? Weren't you getting along well with Professor Leo? Not anymore, very angry, thanks. Very annoyed, Demon King JPG. Auntie Lucy. Cindy, did Leo bully you? Tell Auntie. I'll beat him up for you. No, Auntie, it's just work requirements. Looking for a place closer to the company. Cute JPG. There was another message. Andrew, Cindy, why don't you move in with me? I don't live with my parents. There are 2 bedrooms. If you don't want to share a room, you can have your own. Reading this, I frowned, ignored him, and turned off my phone. Around 6 in the evening, the aroma of food drifted through the door crack. I couldn't resist and left my room. Cindy, let's talk. Talk then, I want to see how you'll explain this. The table was set with cola chicken wings, boiled fish, kung pao chicken, glutinous rice lotus root. I swallowed, making a go-ahead gesture. Professor Leo, begin your defense. I didn't tell you because I wanted to keep living with you. He lowered his head, his voice dropping a tone, sounding somewhat dejected. But you said once my eyes recovered, you'd find another place. Hearing this, my lips curved upward involuntarily. Moments later, I remembered and resumed my stern, cold expression. Even so, you could have told me directly. Why deceive me? Am I not a kind, generous, and understanding roommate who would sympathize with your situation? Leo lifted his head, a hint of a smile on his lips. He gave me a chicken wing and tried to serve me more. Leo, do you like me? The chopsticks paused mid-air, ready to serve more food. I pressed. Do you like me? Yes, I like you. Hearing this answer, my heart leaped for a few seconds before returning to normal. I think we need to have a serious conversation. Leo had never been in a relationship, but I had. I knew that brief infatuation differed from lasting affection. I also knew that liking someone differed from getting used to someone. He sat up straight, clearly ready to listen attentively. Human beings are creatures that cling to their comfort zones. We chat every day, eat together, live together, which might create an illusion that we belong to each other. But this is habit, not love. You need to think clearly. Do you like me as a person, or do you like the comfort and familiarity of being with me? Are you worried about me leaving because you'll miss seeing me, or because the stability associated with me will be disrupted? When novelty fades, everyone looks like love. But what happens after the novelty wears off? At this point, I recalled some past experiences. My mood sank. Okay, I'll think carefully. He responded seriously. Honestly, this answer surprised me. In the novels I'd read, when faced with such questions, boys would almost always immediately reply, I truly like you, to demonstrate their unwavering love. Leo placed a deboned piece of fish in my bowl. Eat first. I looked at the translucent fish. Thank you. Cindy, about finding a new place. I said against my true feelings. I'm looking. Living together as a man and woman has too many inconveniences. I think it's better for me to move out. He didn't respond. After that silence. This was the quietest meal we'd had since we met. Finding a new place wasn't easy. But social media is all-powerful. James said he had a suitable place. It was for single occupancy, no need to share. The location and price were good. This college classmate is reliable. When I arrived, I saw that familiar man. Damn, I take back my words. Probably Andrew knew about my search for a new place because James told him. Cindy, this house belongs to my family. You can stay as long as you want. Andrew wore a black leather jacket with jeans, a baseball cap worn backward over blue hair, as flamboyant and stylish as ever. He stood to the side inside the door, making way for me. But I didn't enter, turning to leave instead. He grabbed my arm and pulled me inside. The door slammed shut. The entrance was cramped and dim, Andrew holding my hands, pinning me against the wall. I suppressed my anger. What are you doing? Cindy, stop being stubborn. You can stay as long as you want, no rent. I scoffed. No thanks. There's no such thing as a free lunch. I don't dare stay in a place with no cost. Andrew, you've gone too far. You were the one chasing me back then. Now you just want to break up and leave? What kind of attitude is that? Andrew, I made a mistake in judgment back then. Now I'm cutting my losses. Isn't that allowed? I've been with you for over a year, never touched you, never kissed you, never slept with you. If you want to cut losses, there needs to be actual loss first. With that, he leaned in to kiss me. The strength difference between men and women made it impossible for me to break free. So I kneed him hard. He didn't expect this and immediately fell to one knee in pain. His hat fell to the ground. As if he was going to kowtow to me. I glanced at him. If you bother me again, I'll make sure you can't have children. Ha ha ha, well done, that's like you. At the bar, my friend Tina highly praised my actions. Now Andrew shouldn't bother you again, right? I don't know. I drank a glass of wine. Meeting my ex again brought mixed emotions. It felt quite unpleasant. Amid the loud music, my phone lit up. Leo, Cindy, aren't you coming back for dinner? I glanced at the time. Oh no. What's wrong? I didn't tell Leo the first wouldn't be back for dinner. It's already 8:30 p.m. Is he still waiting for me? Leo was indeed waiting for Cindy. Knowing she was looking at a new place today, he had been uneasy all day, unable to focus on his classes. After his 4 p.m. class, he hurried home and prepared a table of his signature dishes. His cooking was excellent. Cindy had praised it many times. He thought maybe he could use good food to persuade her to stay. But until the food cooled, Cindy still hadn't returned. Tina, I think Leo is really great. Older, knows how to care for people. A professor, educated. Tina spoke endlessly. And he's so high quality, he definitely wouldn't do what Andrew did today. I laughed. You've never met him, how can you speak so highly of him? I've heard it from you. In your words. He's such a good person. I was momentarily stunned. Yes. Without realizing it, I had already completely trusted Leo's character and personality. Except for that one incident of pretending to be blind. I explained the situation to Leo and apologized. By the time I got home, it was already 11 p.m. Leo wasn't following his usual routine. He was busy with something. Seeing me return, he said, "You're back. How was the place you looked at?" "Not good." "What are you doing?" "Moving my things. I've cleaned out the master bedroom. You can stay there, it's more convenient." He meant the master bedroom had an ensuite bathroom, more convenient for washing up, with stronger privacy. But what concerned me was, I didn't want to wear a bra. This wasn't something changing bedrooms could solve, right? After a tiring day at work, being constrained at home was unbearable. God, have mercy on me. I looked at the empty master bedroom and his luggage. The die was cast. I could only say, thank you, that's really troublesome. Having an ensuite bathroom was great. No need to pass through the living room, So after showering I could return to my braless freedom. After working for over 2 months, I earned my boss's appreciation with outstanding performance. She assigned me an interview task. The interviewee was a professor specializing in physics and chemistry, to write the preface for our upcoming publication. Ha! Surname Liu. At the dinner table. So sir, Professor Leo, do you agree to our company's interview request? His expression was gentle. I don't really like interviews. Then are you refusing your dear roommate's small request? As a roommate, I don't want to do the interview, he smiled slightly. But as a boyfriend, I can't refuse my girlfriend's request. I froze. I saw his expression turn serious. Cindy, I've thought carefully about what you said. The only answer is, I like you. The way you care for me, the way you work hard, the way you're bright and free-spirited. When I think about you moving away, that I might not see you all day, I feel so sad. Cindy, teach me, is this liking? The professor with furrowed brows seeking advice looked like a puppy. Yes, it is liking, I said, biting my lip. Then, you court me. This time, I didn't want to be the proactive one. If we don't have a future, I won't need to use the ridiculous excuse of making a wrong judgment. Okay. His eyes curved happily as he gave me a piece of braised pork. Since your eyes recovered, you've been feeding me non-stop. I've gained weight. He served another piece as he said, Not at all, you're too thin. I remembered the serious matter. So you agree to the interview? Agreed. 4 out of 5, I'm practically your boyfriend now. What a 4 out of 5. Although Leo was inexperienced in relationships, he was excellent in every aspect. Older, knew how to care for people. Cooked deliciously too. Felt like I found a father. I'm pathetic. He courted me for less than a month before we got together. The main reason was I liked him too. After getting together, although we hadn't taken our relationship to the physical level, I had resumed my braless freedom at home. Sometimes, when kissing got intense, his hands would start getting bold. If I hadn't seen it with my own eyes, I would never have believed that the slender hands Professor Leo used for experiments and turning book pages could make so many indecent moves. Tina was wrong. No matter how high quality, he's still a man. My braless freedom actually made it convenient for him. But whenever we got close to taking it further, he would restrain himself and go to the bathroom. It's not that I particularly wanted to remain pure. It's just that in our daily conversations, I had mentioned some fear of the unknown. He said he would wait for me to overcome it gradually. A future carefully considered shouldn't be rushed. Soon after, the company held a dinner to celebrate several promotions, including me. The dinner ended earlier than I expected. I had a low alcohol tolerance, and a few drinks made me drunk. So I sat on the bench outside the restaurant, waiting for Leo to pick me up. Unexpectedly, instead of Leo, I got 2 drunk troublemakers. Little sister, waiting for someone? Wanna take a walk with us brothers? I frowned, moving farther from them, trying to sound firm but actually scared. I suggest you leave quickly, thank you. Hey, we understand. They looked me up and down, their gazes sharp. We've got money. As they spoke, they staggered toward me. Their lewd smiles were disgusting. I stepped back while dialing 110, having just pressed 0, when a large hand gently rested on my shoulders. This is my friend. Leave now, or she'll make sure you can't have children. Seeing I had someone backing me up, the 2 troublemakers cursed as they left. Andrew and I sat on the bench with about 2 people's distance between us. Why are you here? I asked. Having dinner here, he sat hunched, elbows on knees, head down. Impossible to read his expression. You. Company dinner, I said flatly. I heard you got promoted. Probably new from social media again. He added, congratulations. I take back what I said before. Opportunities are made by oneself. Whatever you choose won't turn out too bad. Just then, a Mercedes approached from afar, its lights illuminating us in the dark. Leo got out of the car, wearing a suit, looking very proper. His tall figure had long legs. He walked quickly to me in 3 long strides. He took my bag. Cindy, let's go home. Andrew finally looked up, his blue hair somewhat messy. Who is this? I'm Cindy's boyfriend. Leo smiled lightly, seemingly very polite, but I could feel his hostility. Leo, this is my I considered. An old friend. Oh. Leo didn't look at him. It's late, let's go home. Okay. We said goodbye to Andrew, and Leo and I walked toward the car. Just as he opened the car door, I suddenly remembered something. I walked back to Andrew, who was surprised by my return. When I broke up with you and cut contact, what was your first reaction? He hesitated for a moment. At first I was a bit angry, thought you were being unreasonable. But later. I see, I interrupted him. I need to go home now, bye. If he liked me as much as I liked him, hearing about a breakup should have made him worried or sad. But definitely not angry. I fell asleep in the car, drunk. Leo carried me home. Not sure how long I slept, he woke me to drink sobering soup. In my blurry vision, I saw the man in front of me wearing an outfit I'd never seen before. A trendy outfit. I couldn't help but frown. He said, seeing your previous taste, I thought you'd like this style. Huh. This is how your ex-boyfriend dressed, right? I asked, confused. How do you know he's my ex-boyfriend? Although I had told him I'd been in a relationship before, I hadn't introduced him to Andrew. I only heard a cold response. You didn't delete your social media thoroughly. Huh, Professor Leo turned out to be an extreme jealous type. I couldn't help but laugh at the slightly angry man before me. A desire to tease him arose. I hooked my arms around his neck, pulling him down, my hand exploring under his shirt, feeling his abs while whispering in his ear, "You're wrong. I don't like this style. What I like is not wearing clothes. Alcohol gives courage to the timid." This saying is true. Alcohol helped me overcome my fear. The price was pain, soreness, and exhaustion. Starting from being forced to shower in the bathroom. Then receiving patient instruction in bed. Then because I stupidly said, "I'm afraid of blood." The battlefield moved to the bathroom again. It's more convenient to wash here. Multiple battles that night. Leo was like a beast, seemingly with endless energy. I didn't have his stamina. When I opened my eyes again, it was already 11 a.m. Actually, I had slept less than 8 hours. Time to get up, eat breakfast, Leo said energetically, as if a general who had been well prepared for a long time. I dragged my aching body to the table, looking at the breakfast he had prepared carefully. What time did you get up? 7. My biological clock. Couldn't sleep. I was shocked. Aren't you tired at all? Still okay. He looked at me thoughtfully. You seem very tired. I didn't want to wake you, so maybe. Okay, don't say any more, I said helplessly. That night's indulgence was like opening a floodgate, and from then on it was unstoppable. One day after marriage, I leaned against him, suddenly remembering that night when he was as fierce as a wolf. I teased. You said a future carefully considered shouldn't be rushed, right? Yes, he nodded gently, then added. Precisely because it was carefully considered, I clearly knew I would eventually be yours. Among millions of people. Meeting the one you're meant to meet. Not a step too early. Not a step too late. We happened to meet just in time.